Hey guys, my name is David Green and welcome to episode 16 of Supernatural Archives. This one's going to be interesting, so get ready for a wild ride. And remember, not all is what it may seem when you encounter the statue. Please feel free to sit back, relax, cut the lights, and lock the doors, because it's story time. No matter where you're from, there's always that one place that people seem to just avoid. A creepy house, the cemetery, or in Alex's case, the old factory. Alex, who decided to come home for a while during a break at college, was alone one night when he started to think about that old factory. It was the pride and joy of his town. However, a few years ago, the mayor suddenly decided to shut it down. Everybody was confused as to where this was coming from, but the mayor wouldn't say. Some believed that the factory was connected to some kind of illegal activity, while others said that a few workers died in there and that the mayor didn't want to be held liable for their deaths. Alex wasn't sure what got him thinking about that factory, but he's never been inside of it to this day. He suddenly sat forward and decided that night he would change that. He grabbed a few basic things and made his way to the old factory once the lights had gone out for the night. He made his way through the city as the weather started to open up above him. As if the gods themselves were giving him a warning to stay away from the building, thunder started booming all around him. He looked up to see the huge looming factory, seeming untouched since its shut down years ago. He picked the lock to the front of the factory and quietly snuck his way in, being sure to close the door behind him in case somebody happened to see him. He took out his flashlight and looked around to taking in his new surroundings. The factory seemed old and rusty, seemingly had been aging in place. But what surprised him the most were the random statues scattered throughout the factory. In almost every nook and cranny, hall, room, or storage closet, there were statues of what seemed to be malformed people. He closely examined the statues, and they all seemed to be extraordinarily detailed, from simple wrinkles on the faces to being able to see if they had cracked fingers or not. All while he was exploring, he couldn't shake his sense of being watched. Eventually, he made his way deeper into the factory and saw a different statue. While all of the other statues seemed hunched over or in pain, this statue was covering its face while standing upright. He wouldn't have thought anything about it if it hadn't been in a large room by itself. He closely examined the statue, trying to get a better look at its face, but to no avail. He then thought he heard a clatter behind him and quickly turned around. He saw a mouse skitter across the ground, and he breathed a sigh of relief. He turned around to look at the statue again, but noticed something different about it. Did it move somehow? He backed up and turned around once more to make sure he was close to an exit. When he looked back at the statue again, it now had its arms outstretched towards him, mouth wider than any human would ever be able to accomplish. Now that he knew that how this statue worked, he started to panic as he didn't remember his way out of the factory. So now came the tricky part, trying to work his way out of the building while not breaking eye contact with the statue. He decided that he would use his other senses to navigate, taking steps backwards and seeing if he would recognize any of his surroundings. As he took a few steps back, some dust got in his eye and he was forced to blink. When he saw the statue again, it was just a few feet away from him. The statue itself had almost grabbed him. Alex lunged backward and decided that enough was enough. He found the door to the room and shut it behind him. Once the door was shut, he made a mad dash towards the exit. However, when he finally saw the exit, he heard a loud crash and an unearthly howl. It was here that his flashlight decided to die on him. Now running in the dark, Alex still ran towards the exit. Unfortunately, he never saw his attacker catching up to him. In an instant, the statue was upon him. He could barely get a sound out before he was turned into a statue himself, malformed and a look of pain on his face and arms outstretched towards the exit. Alex was now trapped in the factory forever, freedom in his sights but forever out of reach. Just like all the other poor unfortunate souls who wandered into the factory and encountered the cursed statue. And that's it for today. Had a little inspiration from the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who for this one, with a bit of a twist. Stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you guys next time.